All right. Hello and welcome. My name is Beau and this is a video series that's based around my experience in understanding the mind and consciousness, and a book called A Way Unseen. And you can get that book www.awayunseen.com and beauflasher.com. I found that a video series is more digestible. It's easier to understand some of the concepts that are discussed in the book, and it was very difficult for me to understand some of the concepts as I was going through the experience of injuring myself and understanding thought and projection and all these new concepts that we really don't get taught in this reality. There aren't a lot of people, and there aren't a lot of programs or systems that are designed to help you understand yourself. There's certainly enough systems to control and to define even things like language and time. I mean, there's so many systems that are designed to constrict your ability to move within a reality and understand your choices and why your reality looks the way it does. Today, I would like to take a look at fear and understanding fear. So this would be, I guess, the fourth video, and we're just going to go along. I'm going to cover some big concepts: the mind, consciousness, fear, love, and I believe there are unique angles to be viewed within each subject, because we don't get exposed to these areas unless we choose to. So fear. What is fear? Is fear, hearing something in the basement and not wanting to go down there and check it out? Or is fear when someone's bullying you at school or at work, not fighting back? Right? Is that fear? That may be elements of fear that have been defined for us, maybe that we've seen or in movies and such. But in my experience, fear is felt as primary fear and understanding the mind. Fear is really a technique the mind uses to create a reality where you're defined and you're constricted. We live in a duality of fear and love. Now, you can always choose one or the other. Okay, it's not like you don't have that option, but it is difficult at times. It's challenging to understand how to choose fear or how to choose love. So, all right, Beau, what are you talking about? So fear, primary fear, when you create your mind, an initial moment of trauma, you create your mind and you create a primary fear. For example, I'll use myself as the example here. I have a primary fear rooted in a fear of failure, and that in thought forms that I was able to view, that I stored in the far reaches of my mind, that was rooted as I was growing up. I was judged by others. I probably didn't hit puberty until college. My goodness, and I was judged. I had very long hair and I kept my head down, and I those experiences are as real as when you're an adult, but we don't know exactly how to process them. And I created a fear of failure in others' eyes as not to grow out of a space. So it's very difficult for me to do things, and I always feel as though I'll be judged by others. So this project, for example, the video series, is very difficult for me to do because of my fear of failure. So fear restricts my ability to affect others. And that fear is felt, and I hold that. That's one of my primary fears. We have unique primary fears. Those fears direct our reality, right, by choice. We just figure that the thought in our head is who we are, and we go with it. Well, that thought is being fed to you by your mind. And your mind has an agenda, and that is to protect your primary fears. So a fear, and fear in general, is better understood when relating it to yourself and your primary fears. And you can understand your reality and even the realities of those around you by looking into and asking why your reality looks the way it does, and how fear, right, and how the mind uses fear to create that reality. So that is best understood by asking why your reality looks the way it does. Why do I talk the way I do with certain people? Why do I make the decisions I make? These are rooted in fear. Understanding yourself is something the mind doesn't really want you to do. You created your mind. Its agenda is control to prevent you from being exposed. Sort of like your bodyguard, right? It knows your deepest fears, and it doesn't even want you and your consciousness of asking why. It's like a flashlight. Consciousness is just like a flashlight. Asking why, you're rooting around. It does not want that. You did not create your mind so that your fears would be exposed. You created your mind so that your fear would be held away from your conscious viewing. So fear is best understood through our primary fears, and it's a very unique experience as you look around and the choices in your reality. And you can even look back into your past and look at your choices and see how your primary fear affects those choices. So understanding fear, I get asked a lot about, well, what is fear, and how do I nobody wants it, right? How do I avoid it? How do I get rid of the fear? I don't want fear in my reality. I would associate fear and understanding fear through the mind, and not in a defensive state. Right? Okay, where's fear? I'm not going to do fear. If I hear that noise, I'm gonna be brave and I'm gonna go get it. Or if I'm getting picked on, I'm gonna fight back. Right? That's not fear. Fear may be defined as one chooses to see themselves. Okay, choosing to see your primary fear. It's a restrictive energy, and it's a technique the mind uses to prevent you from being hurt or being feeling. Right? Hurt maybe isn't the best word there. The mind doesn't want you to feel. Doesn't want you to feel the areas that you're blocking away. So that's where I would start with fear. Anyone asking about fear and understanding the way in which it affects your reality, begin to see yourself and see the layers that you hold. And within those layers, you'll understand how fear is stored within the body. Right? We can store fear in layers, thought forms, and feelings we don't want to engage, right? They come up throughout the day, and we just don't have time for it, or we don't want to feel that old relationship or that area that can affect us. So we store it. We store it in the body, and it's like it's kind of like you're putting all the stuff in the closet, right? You just start to stack it in there, and it's layers of fear. And it gets tough to get to the deepest layers, right? Your primary fears, which are held at the back of your mind. It gets tough to get in there because you have all these other layers to engage. And the mind is very good at protecting those areas. It will control your focus and keep you going this way, work, don't feel, right? Watch TV, cell phone, whatever it's got to do to keep your focus away from those fears that you hold. So that's a good place to start with fear. Yes, it's we're in a duality of love and fear, but fear is best understood as applied to oneself and their primary fears. I'll get into later on the effect of love and fear and seeing it in others, but again, choose to see yourself and choose. You may choose to understand the mind and the way in which it uses fear to control your reality. That's a big one. How does your mind, right? This isn't just a video series because I think it's a cool idea and this is going to be fun. This is to help people. This helped me, and I believe it can help everybody. How does your mind control your focus? What thought forms, what feelings, what multi-layered thoughts and what areas does your mind use to project into your mind's eye, your head, your area of understanding to control your focus. What does it use to do that? Understanding the way in which your mind chooses will help you understand areas of fear and the layers that you hold. Okay, thanks for hanging in there. Fear, understood. We'll take a look at love in the next series. I'll take you out with some music.